Hey, so we have Greg here. So Greg is our specialist with supply chain, importing stuff. He's importing like a bunch of like containers per month for big brands. He just shared with me something very interesting, that shipping costs right now have decreased a lot, right?
Yeah, significantly. So like about a year ago in August, that's when like things kind of hit like the peak with the increase in shipping prices because the Suez Canal and just other like COVID issues as well. And like it was around like just going to LAX would be around like 20 grand to port, and like one container, just one like 20-foot container would be like 20 grand or 40 foot. And now you're looking at around like $6,000. So like the prices are going down dramatically, and a lot of it also has to do with the power consumption issues in China. So that's like delaying a lot of manufacturing, which means there's more availability for containers. So that's also driving down the cost too. So I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to increase prices during Q4, at least in the interim, because you can't like produce as much stuff. So the prices are definitely good if you're doing sea shipping.
So we're entering like Q4 now. Like, would you envision like a lot of issues with like simply like supply?
Absolutely. So like right now, like I'm working with a company where I'm sourcing like flooring, like construction flooring, and like usually it would take maybe about like 30 days to produce. Now it's 45 to 60. So for people that are buying stuff right now, especially like if you're trying to buy stuff for like Christmas, definitely purchase planning is the way to go, just to avoid certain hurdles with this. Like right now with power consumption, you could only manufacture 4 days a week, and usually they work through the night because the other 3 days they can't work. So yeah, like if you're trying to get in for Black Friday, you really got to start planning it out right now.
Very cool. So for inventory planning, like what have you seen working with different clients, like different industries?
Sure.
Are there any like specific softwares you would recommend for like, let's say, Shopify merchants or something like spreadsheets? How would you kind of like assume those projections usually?
Yeah, so like I mean the best way to do is like to go off of like the historical data that you have. Now in terms of shipping, it gets like kind of complicated because like some people need to do fulfillment, some people work with drop shippers, some people are just consolidating and shipping an entire container. So the way you got to do it is you have to forecast your next like 6 to 9 months of like what your inventory is going to be, and then you want to make sure whatever orders you're putting in now is about like 3 to 4 months from now, right? So and then making sure that carries. Now don't forget you have the Chinese New Year coming up early this year. So because it's coming up early this year, like you might want to put in one last order right around Black Friday, just to get it out so that there's that February-March period that you still have your inventory.
What are the maybe like some negotiation tactics that you have seen working with suppliers that can get you better terms for you to survive this and being able to fund your business?
Sure. So I think like so Dayu at Ecom Ops, I love Dayu and like their company is great. I think what they do best is that they try to help negotiate with the suppliers to kind of like keep the amount that's being produced every week on the lower end, so that there's more cash flow for the e-commerce business to like bring over enough inventory to him so that he's able to ship it out directly to end users. But for people that like are not necessarily using a fulfillment option and they have to have their own warehousing, it kind of depends on the supplier you work with. Like there's like some people in our group that I've spoken to that they just have really good terms with their drop shipping agent, and their drop shipping agent will let you store stuff for X amount of time without charging you, or you're able to work something out with your supplier. If you've been working with them for a year, try to pay them after delivery, or try to spread out some of the costs. Maybe if you're doing lightweight products and you're shipping by air, maybe only pay for the inventory that's going out by air because they know you're going to pay for the rest. It's just that you need to spread out your costs. I'd say if you're dealing directly with suppliers, you just want to do your best job to communicate, be descriptive, explain to them what your estimated periods are of the sales coming in so that they're able to understand your situation, and then they're able to figure out like how could they work with you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Greg.
No problem.